March 13th, 1989. It was just another spring break night in Matamoros, Mexico, a border town buzzing with American college students chasing tequila, music, and a week without rules. The streets pulsed with neon lights, laughter, and the promise of wild freedom. Among the crowd was Mark Kilroy, a 21-year-old pre-med student from Texas with an easy smile and a bright future. He had spent the evening drinking with friends, the kind of carefree night that feels endless. But just before dawn, as the crowds thinned and the music faded, Mark stepped away for a moment. In that brief, quiet gap, he vanished. He never made it back to his hotel, never saw his family again. His disappearance would ignite an international search, leading authorities to a desolate ranch on the edge of the desert. What they uncovered there was something no one could have imagined. Ritual sacrifices, black magic, and a cult led by a man his followers called El Padrino, the Godfather. This is the haunting, horrifying story of Adolfo de Jesus Constanzo and the Narcosatanists. A story where drugs, money, power, and ritual blended into one of the darkest cult crimes in history. But before we dive into today's disturbing case, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts down in the comments. This is the story of Adolfo Constanzo and the narco cult murders. Adolfo de Jesus Constanzo was born on November 1st, 1962, in Miami, Florida, ironically the day after Halloween, known in Latin tradition as All Saints' Day. His mother, Delia Aurora Gonzalez, was just 15 years old, a Cuban immigrant who had fled Fidel Castro's regime a few years earlier. The identity or location of his biological father remains unknown and unrevealed. Delia was young, beautiful, and troubled. She would go on to have 3 children by 3 different men. By all outward appearances, Adolfo's childhood seemed religious. He was baptized Catholic, served as an altar boy, and could recite prayers with angelic devotion. Yet Delia harbored another side. She was deeply involved in Santeria and Palo Mayombe, Afro-Caribbean religions mixing Catholic saints with African spiritual practices. As a child, Adolfo was dragged along to rituals in Haiti and Puerto Rico, where he witnessed animal sacrifices, blood offerings, and trance-like possession. To most children, this would be terrifying. To Adolfo, it was normal. In Miami, the family settled into a Cuban neighborhood. Delia's second husband, a man linked to the occult and the drug trade, became a shadowy father figure to Adolfo. When that man died in the early 1970s, Delia assured her son that his destiny was to become a powerful sorcerer. She reinforced that he was chosen. Even as a teenager, Adolfo stood out. He was tall, handsome, and carried himself with the confidence of someone much older. But he was also volatile. Arrest records show he and his mother were caught shoplifting and involved in petty crimes. Yet, despite these blemishes, he graduated high school in 1980. He briefly enrolled in a prep school for priests, but his rebellious nature clashed with the rules. He was expelled. By then, Adolfo was already apprenticing under a local paleros, practitioners of Palo Mayombe. He was being trained not just in rituals, but in manipulation, fear, and the promise of power through sacrifice. In 1983, Adolfo left Miami for Mexico City, claiming he wanted to model. But soon he found a different stage, the vibrant, eccentric neighborhood of Zona Rosa. There, he began performing tarot readings, spiritual cleansings, and rituals. His charisma drew people in, especially wealthy, desperate clients, politicians, police officers, and most importantly, drug dealers. Adolfo convinced them that his rituals could make them invincible. He promised bullets would bounce off their bodies, that police would turn a blind eye, that enemies would drop like flies. And for a while, it seemed to work. His following grew. Among his disciples were Martin Quintana, Omar Orea, and Jorge Montes, loyal lieutenants who doubled as lovers and protectors. Soon his reputation spread into the criminal underworld. Cartel figures came to him not only for blessings, but for alliances. Adolfo escalated his rituals. Chickens became goats, goats became zebras and lions, smuggled from zoos and circuses. Bones were stolen from graveyards to feed his nganga. Nganga is a ritual cauldron central to Palo Mayombe, an Afro-Cuban religion. Crafted from iron and filled with sticks, soil, herbs, animal parts, blood, and human remains, especially bones, it serves as a living spiritual vessel, nganga, that houses a spirit called Nfumbi, believed to give the nganga its power. To build it, a palo priest, makes a pact with a spirit, often taken from grave-robbed remains, then layers it with symbolic materials and consecrates it through incantations and offerings. This vessel can be used for healing, protection, or as Constanzo twisted it, harm and ritual murder. He told followers the nganga spoke to him, granting visions and power. But soon, bones stolen from cemeteries weren't enough. Adolfo believed that live human sacrifice would supercharge the nganga's power. His followers enthralled by his charisma and obeyed. By 1986, Adolfo had embedded himself with Mexico's drug cartels. He courted the Calzada family, a powerful clan in trafficking. When he demanded a cut of their business and was denied, 7 Calzada family members vanished. Their bodies were later found horrifically mutilated, fingers missing, hearts and brains removed, spines snapped. It sent a chilling message. To cross Constanzo was to invite ritual death. It was also around this time that Adolfo met Sara Aldrete, a tall, attractive 22-year-old college student from Matamoros, Brownsville. Outwardly, she was a bright young woman studying physical education in Texas. She was described as intelligent and athletic, friendly and ambitious. She graduated from high school and earned resident alien status to attend college in Brownsville. But under Adolfo's influence, she transformed. She embraced occultism and was elevated to La Madrina, the Godmother, and placed her second in command. She helped recruit followers, many of them young men who were seduced by sex, drugs, and promises of supernatural invulnerability. Together, they formed what became known as the Narcosatanists. Their headquarters was Rancho Santa Elena, a dusty, isolated ranch outside Matamoros. To neighbors, it looked like a drug hideout, but inside it was a temple of terror. It was used for both drug storage and human sacrifice rituals. The line between cartel business and ritual slaughter blurred. Victims, some random, some enemies, were tortured, fingers severed, flesh mutilated, blood poured into the nganga. Some victims were skinned, others had organs boiled in the cauldron, their parts used as offerings. Prisoner testimonies later revealed that victims, rival traffickers, unlucky passers-by, even cult members who defied Adolfo were tied up, tortured, and sacrificed. They were shot, strangled, hacked with machetes, their fingers, ears, or genitals cut off. Some were skinned alive. Their blood was drained into the nganga. Adolfo insisted the more pain inflicted, the more powerful the ritual. By late 1988, bodies were piling up. Local police quietly ignored it, either bribed or too terrified. The cult believed themselves untouchable. But then, everything unraveled in March 1989. Mark Kilroy was a 21-year-old pre-med student from Santa Fe, Texas. He had come to Matamoros with friends for spring break. On the night of March 13th, after a night of bar hopping, Mark stepped away briefly to relieve himself. It was the last time his friends saw him. The cult leader wanted a superior brain for the nganga. Adolfo's men lured him into a truck and drove him to Rancho Santa Elena. There, he was held overnight, tied up, beaten, and tortured. Witnesses later claimed he begged for his life. Adolfo, however, wanted a special sacrifice, an educated, intelligent American. He believed the nganga craved a powerful soul. The next day, Mark was marched to a shed. A cult member struck him with a machete to the back of the neck, severing his spinal cord. His brain was boiled in the nganga, his heart ripped out, his legs and arms hacked off. His spine was buried in a shallow grave with 14 other victims. For weeks, his disappearance baffled American and Mexican authorities. But on April 11, 1989, a routine traffic stop changed everything. Cult members were caught with drugs, and under interrogation, they confessed. Police stormed Rancho Santa Elena and discovered the horrifying shrine. The nganga filled with human bones, animal carcasses, a turtle shell, blood, and even a brain. In shallow graves, they uncovered 15 mutilated bodies, including Mark Kilroy's. The cult scattered. Adolfo fled to Mexico City with Sara Aldrete and loyal followers. For weeks, they hid in luxury apartments, but police closed in. On April 17th, a search revealed a shrine, altars, and occult paraphernalia, but no immediate proof of murder. Suspicion mounted as investigators found Sara Aldrete's belongings left behind, possibly a diversion or plant to mislead authorities. On May 6, 1989, officers surrounded an apartment building in the Cuauhtémoc neighborhood. Adolfo, refusing to be captured, raged at his followers. For 45 minutes, he fired a machine gun out the window, screaming that he would never be taken alive. Finally, he handed the weapon to his follower, Alvaro El Dubi de Leon, and ordered him to shoot. Dubi opened fire, killing Adolfo and another disciple, Martin Quintana. When police stormed in, they found Adolfo's lifeless body slumped in a closet, riddled with bullets, clutching a handful of pesos and a charred ritual charm, and Sara Aldrete and others were arrested without resistance. The cult was shattered, but the legend remained. Investigators tied them to 23 ritual murders, though many believe the true number was far higher. Sara Aldrete was sentenced to 62 years in prison, though she has repeatedly claimed she was brainwashed and innocent. She remains incarcerated to this day. Alvaro de Leon, the man who killed Adolfo, received 30 years. Other cult members, including the Hernandez brothers, were given 60-year sentences. In the U.S., Mark Kilroy's family fought to bring awareness to drug violence. His parents established a foundation promoting drug prevention programs. To this day, the nganga recovered from Rancho Santa Elena sits locked away in a government facility, a grotesque reminder of belief twisted into horror. Adolfo Constanzo, the handsome altar boy turned cult leader, became a figure of myth, some calling him the devil of Matamoros, others whispering that his spirit still haunts the borderlands. This is the terrifying story of Adolfo Constanzo and the Narcosatanist cult, a tale of blood, power, and madness that turned the borderlands into a hunting ground. Sleep well.